Speaking of dethroning establishments, did you guys hear that Shaquille O'Neal is going to be the new Papa John?
What?
What?
Apparently they need a new Papa John, and Shaq was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'm big.
I mean, I'm down for that, I guess, but even
I
so...
guess. I mean, I feel like he'd be a good fit.
Yeah.
But
it's still weird.
Yeah, he's taking over the likeness of a real human being.
Yeah.
Shaq has too much power.
It's one thing to do like Colonel Sanders, where the joke is that every celebrity is dressed up as him, but Shaq assimilating a human man is very funny to me.
Shaq turned into a white country boy.
He's gonna do whiteface. It's gonna be funny.
Yeah. He's gonna put on flour on his face and say, look, I look just like him.
Now you might think I'm doing whiteface, but you see, this is just for making these here pizzas.
I'm not intentionally doing whiteface.
I
am acknowledging that I'm doing it, but it's not intentional.
But I didn't do it on purpose.
He acts like he makes the pizzas, and he takes one touch of a crust, and he's like, ew.
These are bad. Make them again. Hi, I'm Shaq, now Papa John, and I'm here to tell you that pizzas are the best, and they're mine also, so please buy them.
They're the best. Please buy them.
These pizzas are mine.
This weekend only, Papa John's Pizza is 0% off.
Oh.
Please come by.
Grand reopening.
Pay an extra 25 cents, and I will have an extra 25 cents.
Pay an extra 25 cents and ask them to make my face and pepperonis on the pizza, and they will try their best, maybe.
Disclaimer! Crossing the Line is not a show intended to bully or harass anyone. Do not go out of your way to find or mess with the authors featured on our podcast. They make what we do possible, and we love them. And you. Thanks. Enjoy.
Welcome to Crossing the Line, a fanfiction podcast where we read, review, and critique fanfiction for your listening pleasure. One last thing on quote-unquote pop culture. The Chick-fil-A in our town has been closed for a few weeks for renovations, and the lights have been livid. But just yesterday, they opened up again, and the only thing on their sign was "Welcome Home," and the building was like wrapped around twice for the drive-thru.
And now it's two lines, but it's twice as busy.
Yeah, they have a double drive-thru lane, but it's still twice as busy because all the whites are trying to regain what they lost.
Oh my god.
They need that precious life energy from Chick-fil-A.
It's very funny.
This week's episode. Oh.
I remember when Chick-fil-A had Digimon toys in their kids' meal.
They did.
Whoa.
I don't know.
I was about to say, usually
Trying to segue.
Don't do toys.
Fucking okay.
Oh yeah,
We
they
do
do
Digimon.
like books and learning.
Do they?
Yeah, they're the hip one. You don't need a toy, children. You get a book.
A book.
It's funny.
Okay.
Here's a car manual.
Here's a Christian car manual.
I'm gonna Google Chick-fil-A prizes.
Oh, okay.
And while he does that, me and Steven are gonna...
Chew into this here new Butterfinger recipe.
Steven's gonna give a food review on the brand new and improved Butterfinger. He's chewing it. It sounds crunchy.
Mm-hmm. Crunchy. Peanut butter. Crispy.
Steven, this is not content.
It's good. It's like the original, just, I'd say, slightly more peanut buttery. Better they added just a little bit more salt to it. It's about really the only difference I can tell.
Yeah, this is the second one you've had this week.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A does in fact give out small children's books. Often just like information and Christian stories and whatever.
And not fun.
It's no toy.
Knowledge is power, but it's no toy.
Right. It's no power. It is power.
Remember when there were books written based on episodes of Digimon?
No, were there?
Yes, actually, that one's true.
Yeah.
What?
My brother had the one that was about the Miramon episode.
I remember you did show me one of those once, actually.
Yeah,
They
that
had
was
like
the
the really
one.
small ones.
I had the one that was about your brother's episode.
Yeah, what happened in that one?
Your brother went to the digital world.
And then what?
He said this is really cool and he never came back.
That story doesn't have a happy ending.
Why you were giving me a middle finger with your hand like that?
He came back.
Not in the story. And does art imitate life, or does life imitate art?
I wish life imitated Digimon.
Oh, goodness.
Who here knows a thing about Digimon besides me?
Marginally.
I tried to rewatch it like 2 years ago and it didn't go well. I gave up. But I also tried to watch it 3 or 4 years ago, season 3 with you, and I gave up again. And I tried to watch the movies, and I watched 2 of them, and I gave up again. The new movies, try.
The new movies start out very, very fun just because they're basing it around your nostalgia, but they get very not fun and poorly written.
Really?
They did really bust them out.
Well, it's like not even like that. Just like they tried to come up with a plot that could sum up in 6 movies,
That's true.
which is a lot, but also not a lot at the same time.
I mean, for a movie, it's not a lot, but it is. It's not a
Like-
lot to cover, but
It's just the idea of like doing something in a movie structure times
True.
6. So it's like when you have a trilogy series, like it's very easy to like have that like first one ends at like a high note, second ends at a low note, so the third one come back around. But you can't do that in a 6-piece movie series.
yeah.
True.
And like they already had introduced all the characters and everything, so it's just like, what is there to do for 6 movies?
True, and hell, the name's Try. They could have did a trilogy and it would have made the name mean even more things.
Vic Mignogna was in it, God rest his soul.
God rest his soul.
Turn off your notification
off.
sounds.
Okay.
Vic Mignogna was in it, God rest his soul.
God rest his soul.
He'll never have another job again.
It's gonna be hard for him to come back in the 2020 Digimon movie.
Whoa.
Ho ho.
They're doing one in 2020. And they're doing some sort of unnamed collaboration with Hatsune Miku.
Oh, really?
I don't know what it is. I'm assuming it's a song with Digimon in it.
It's a Gabumon skinned like Hatsune Miku.
It's Hatsune Miku-mon.
It's Hatsune Miku skinning Gabumon for his one fur.
It all comes first full circle.
Oh my god, her pigtails are just the arms of the friggin' pelt.
I can't believe they made a joke about that in the intro to the Try movie.
Mm.
It's so good.
No,
Well, it was like the live action like primer thing.
yes, to preface this, when you saw the Digimon Try movies in theater in America, which was like a one night only thing, and there were only like 6 other people there when we went, which was funny. But anyway, when you went there, they had these little like pre-show like cutaways, and it's like pick the top 5 Digimon, and but Agumon wasn't there, so it's clearly false.
Right.
But Gabumon was number 1 after Elias was saying something about how he hates Gabumon because they tried to take his skin off.
In episode 1 or
And
2.
then they specifically say, "Oh, Gabumon was so cool the way he helped Matt hide from the cold with his fur pelt," and you like screamed in this movie theater.
They like specifically called me out.
You audibly groaned in front of the 6 other Digimon fans.
Oh my
I
god.
was like my least favorite one, Gabumon, because he tries to skin himself in the 2nd episode, and then they go, and number
Gabumon's
1,
great.
Gabumon, because he tried to skin himself in the 2nd episode.
Have you heard how he talks?
Mhm.
He's hilarious.
Yeah, it's very funny when you're not watching it.
Come on, Matt. Let's go outside and play.
Matt, consider your options. You're trapped in the digital world with me, Gabumon. And then Matt sighs.
What are his options?
The options are laid out before him visually.
Matt, have you heard about the new Dora the Explorer movie? I don't think it's gonna be very good myself. What do you mean we're gonna watch it? Boots doesn't even have boots!
What are you going on about?
The new
You
digital.
haven't heard about the Dora the Explorer movie coming out?
Why would they do that?
Huh?
Why would they do that?
I don't know. They're doing a live action friggin' Dora now, and
Does she still exist in the computer?
no, it's live action. And
She's become
friggin-
real.
She's become real, and Boots doesn't wear boots, and he's voiced by
Danny Trejo.
yeah.
Is this a joke?
No, I'll show you the friggin' thing. What's his name again?
Is he a hyper-realistic monkey?
Yeah.
Danny Trejo.
But then he stands up and his mouth flaps, and then Danny Trejo goes, "Ay chica, knock that off!
I don't
I'ma
wanna
gut you like a fish."
I don't want to talk about Danny Trejo in our Digimon episode.
Explorer is her middle name.
He's not wearing boots.
He'll get them. I'm sure there'll be a scene where they're like in the thing, and he'll find some like Golden Knights boots and go like, "Whoa!" And then they'll say, "Come on, boots!" And then he'll go, "Not in a million years."
He'll say "Vamonos."
That's a Devil
Everybody,
May Cry
let's go.
joke.
He'll sing the theme song to Digimon.
I'll sing the theme song to Devil May Cry.
Yeah, how's that tradition you like to start for this the past couple episodes?
I will do it right now. Thankfully,
Okay.
I had some time in the car to think about it. How does the sound effect go when they're flying through space? It's like, I don't know.
There's no sound. There we
Yeah.
go.
And it goes Digimon, 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 Digimon Masters, Digimon Champions.
The instrumental's kind of drowning you out, buddy. World.
Speak up.
No, that's all I know. You ruined it.
World.
I appreciate the
Into champions.
appreciate the echo chamber,
Into ultimate.
the auto tune.
That's gonna sound real good, I bet.
Yeah, just put some
I like that it's preceded by you dragging the mic and it bumping.
just dry out the audio a little bit so it sounds really thin and
Yeah,
good.
just see like, did you?
It's drowned by the friggin'
I'm sure it'll
instrumental.
sound great. Just add some reverb on there. It'll mask everything.
Just put the actual song on there.
Just
Yeah.
reverb and auto tune me.
Cut us out, but keep you in on our single mic feed.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Easy.
Well, who wants to go first? It isn't me because I went last time.
I can go first.
Okay, good.
Hooray.
My phone was at a comfortable charge, but then I kept looking up songs that had the that had the word metalhead in the title on our car ride to the snack shop.
Oh, I see.
Just because the Donkey Kong Country TV show's Metalhead song rips off a Daft Punk song.
It's so funny too because when I first saw that song, real quick, when I first saw that song, I had no idea. They sound really similar, so I was like, which came first? And I thought, of course, probably Daft Punk, but then I went and actually looked at the dates. They came out in 1997, like a month apart.
Whoa.
It was crazy.
But which one came first?
Daft Punk. The album with that song came out first, and then a month later that episode came out.
I mean, the TV show was probably like recorded. I would hope in under a month before it came out, or like over a month before it came out, because that would mean they really made those episodes come out quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, with how long? I imagine it had to take years to render an episode of 3D animation back then.
That's true.
And that's like early mocap too.
Maybe the Daft Punk people were in the studio and they made that song.
Yeah, maybe there was some insider trading with Daft Punk, teaching Donkey Kong their ways.
Yeah.
So you want to be a robot, eh?
Maybe the singer for Donkey Kong is actually one of the Daft Punk robots. That's
I hope.
what he sounds like for real.
Well, he always wears a mask, so we'll never know.
Pulls it off and it's Donkey Kong's big doofy head.
Take it away, Steven. Ooh.
Alright. The spirits in heaven were finishing a game of volleyball when one of the spirits accidentally slammed into another spirit trying to hit the ball.
What?
The red referee with blue clothes and a white cape flew over to the injured spirits.
What?
Let's see here. Let me take care of what happened here. It's almost lunchtime. Why don't the rest of you spirits get something to eat? His look of panic quickly subsided when he saw the injury was only a small bruise on opposite sides of his spirits. While smiling, he said, "You two look like you will be fine. Just take a break from the game for a few days. Now why don't you two head off to lunch as well?" As the spirits ran away, the referee went to pick up the volleyball. When he picked up the ball, something strange happened. He thought he heard a voice call his name. He paused for a moment and looked around, but did not see anyone. He shrugged it off and hovered over to the net, but then he heard it again. This time it was louder. "Who's there?" he yelled out. Nobody answered. He checked around the lone tree he was sitting under, but saw nobody. He continued walking away from the court. From the court he heard the voice again. He turned around and thought he saw something moving in the small pond. He put the ball down and flew over. When he looked into the pond, he gasped in fear. The reflection he saw was not his own, but at the same time it was. The reflection smiled an evil smile that the referee would never... The reflection smiled an evil smile that the referee would never smile. At least he would never smile like that anymore. "Ah, remember me, old friend?" asked the reflection.
No.
"I believe you have forgotten who I am. I am Deborah, the Demon King."
I was thinking, like, I don't know why, but I was thinking, is that Deborah?
That's the white
Why?
kid.
He's a referee?
That came together in my mind instantly as you said his name.
Yeah.
Hold on. Have you ever seen Deborah without the Majin symbol on his head?
It looks weird.
It looks lame.
He
He just has a lot of negative space in his head.
Yeah, it's like really bad design.
Yeah, like in the Xenoverse 2, like one of the
What ifs?
DLC store. Yeah, the What Ifs or DLC store. He's like, since the main villain in the first game is Deborah's sister that Akira Toriyama made.
Oh, okay.
So, like, he shows up, he doesn't have the Majin symbol on his head, and he just looks weird.
I can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like early DBZ, like Vegeta drawings.
Oh,
Yeah.
dear Lord.
The head is so massive.
Mhm.
Look up early Vegeta drawings. His head is
I
huge.
know what that looks like, but I'm gonna look up Deborah.
Okay. Sorry, I
Okay.
didn't mean to derail that.
Nah, that's fine. It's here. On my place. Oh. "You might not realize this now, but I am you. I am no longer the Demon King, and I don't wish to go back to that life," exclaimed the real Deborah. "Nonsense! You have become weak and forgot what it feels like to have power rushing through your body. Allow me to remind you." With that, the reflection jumped at Deborah, pushing him back. Deborah slammed his eyes shut and grabbed his pounding head. "Get out! Get out! Get out!" As much as he fought it, the reflection was slowly winning, and Deborah was returning to his old self.
Oh no!
Oh, he's not the funny man from heaven.
I love nice Deborah.
Me
He's so
too.
funny.
He is.
Why don't they do anything with him in Super?
That's what I was wondering. Like, is just the other world just out now?
I mean, clearly not. They went to hell to go get Frieza.
Yeah, but like we don't see like a lot of the imagery we saw from like
Mhm.
DBZ, really.
Yeah, but even though there's so much like otherworld stuff that happens in the Buu saga, and then Super is entirely otherworld stuff
Right.
with gods and what have you.
Yeah. However, something happened that the evil Deborah did not account for. The energy and the struggle between the split personalities was so great that it caused a tear in dimensions. The evil Deborah finally won, but was sucked up into the dimensional rip.
Oh no.
Deborah awoke several hours later in a daze. "What happened? Where am I?" Scratching the top of his head, the last thing he could remember was his fight against Buu in the hot, sunny desert. Now the sun was setting, and nothing around him looked pink. The only color he saw was green. He noticed someone else was missing from the picture. Babidi. "Maybe those Earthlings defeated Majin Buu and Babidi," thought Deborah while forming an evil grin. "That means I no longer have to follow that little worm's commands. That leaves this planet up for grabs."
Up for grabs.
"Hey, you're awake," a voice yelled to Deborah. A yellow worm-like creature crawled up to him. "What are you supposed to be?" asked Deborah. I'm Kunemon. I found you asleep near my nest in this forest. I tried waking you, but you wouldn't get up. What kind of Digimon are you anyway? I've never seen any like you before. Digimon? What's a Digimon?
Is this Digimon World X Dragon Ball?
Oh god, I forgot to check that.
So I don't think Kunemon ever shows up in the anime once.
Right.
Kunamon?
Yeah, he's the yellow worm.
Yeah, the yellow worm.
Kunemon.
Huh? You mean you aren't a Digimon? Well, you don't look like any human I've ever met before either. What are you and why are you in the digital world?
What are you?
Digital world? I thought this was Earth! Wow, you must be really lost. You can't travel to Earth unless you have a human partner. But since you're not a human or a Digimon, I don't know how you can get back to Earth. It was at that moment Deborah finally remembered the events that happened to him earlier in the day, and of the many years his true personality was trapped by King Yema's seal. Then he remembered the portal that engulfed him. Hey buddy, are you alright? You look like you just saw a Bakumon.
Hey, buddy.
A Bakumon.
A Bakumon.
That's the ghost.
Yeah.
That's the ghost Digimon.
That's the roly-poly.
Deborah's look of shock suddenly vanished, replacing it with his evil smile. Tell me, does this world of yours have a king? Kunemon, after hearing...
He's gonna bully this small animal.
He's gonna become king of Kunemon. Make him do what he tells him.
Do you personally have a king?
Good news.
I'm much bigger than you, so that can easily be me.
Kunemon, after hearing the stories of the old Digimon Emperor, nervously responded, No, why do you ask? Because from now on, I, Deborah the Demon King, shall rule this
Are
world.
you familiar with
Those-
communism?
Those who don't obey me shall be destroyed. Ha ha ha. Kunemon.
That easy.
Kunemon, shaking from fear, decided to run. I've got to tell the Digi-Destined about this guy. They'll know what to do.
Good
Alright.
news, that means it's an anime Digimon and not a video game Digimon.
Oh, thank goodness. However, Kunemon did not make it far before Deborah spotted him. Alright, looks like you'd rather die. Deborah pulled out his sword, leapt in front of Kunemon. He dealt one quick blow with his sword and reduced Kunemon to scattered data.
Oh no!
He's like a small insect.
Yeah, he's like a foot tall.
Oh my
It's
god.
not, it's not a very intimidating threat.
Deborah then flew off to find his next victim. Jesus. This man just showed up, declared himself.
Well, he doesn't seem very powerful. All he did was smack a worm. Not afraid of
To
him.
find his next victim. He's just going around kicking the ass of whoever's the biggest one.
He just bullied a small man.
He thinks this is prison.
Galaxy prison.
A week had gone by since Deborah had first arrived in the digital world. Already, the digital world had become a complete mess in a shorter time than when the Dark Masters attacked. Deborah had
Whoa,
enslaved...
he's stronger than all 4 Dark Masters?
Yeah, man.
That's insane. Those are 4 mega levels.
Oh, shit. Deborah had enslaved and killed many of the Digimon. The Digi-Destined from around the world tried stopping him, but all lost the battle, with most losing their Digimon
Oh
partner.
my god.
To what end? Why is Deborah harassing these people?
Why does he want to rule this world specifically?
I thought he wanted to be
digital
king. He's just hurting people.
Yeah, he's not gonna be much of a king if there's nobody to, like, rule over.
My god. Deborah was stronger than Digimon.
They're gonna reboot the digital world and he's gonna die.
Deborah was stronger than Digimon. He took out rookies and champions with ease, and he just barely broke a sweat when attacking ultimates. There is one level of Digimon Deborah had not seen. Through his short conquest, he never witnessed the power of a mega-level Digimon.
Oh no, they're gonna get Omnimon.
Oh no. An eye in the sky knew a mega-level was needed to stop Deborah. This eye belonged to Azulongmon.
Azulongmon.
Oblongmon.
He's one of the big boys.
Oh, okay.
He can touch his toes without bending his knees.
It's true. He doesn't have toes.
He claims he can do it, but he doesn't have toes.
No one will question him. He's like one of the god Digimon.
Oh, okay. He knew he had to seek out a Mega, but they existed rarely. Even with his great wisdom, he could not think of where to find one, until he remembered an event from a long time ago. He rushed off to find the perfect warrior.
That could be anybody.
He rushed off to find the ultimate warrior.
God rest his soul.
What are you doing here? Asked a deep voice. I came here to be in peace and to find the meaning of my existence. I'm sorry to bother you, Black War Greymon, but I need your assistance. While you meditate up here in the mountains, the Digimon below are all in danger. We need your help, Black War Greymon.
Black War Greymon's dead.
Yeah. Are you not stronger than I? You can defeat this enemy without my aid. I could if I was at full strength. This monster came to our world from another dimension. The tear in space has drastically decreased my powers. Right now, you are the strongest Digimon alive. You must fight Deborah.
Strongest alive, huh?
They just picked him because he's voiced by Steve Bloom.
Yeah.
By Steve Buscemi.
Steve Bloom is so good, my god.
Do your best Steve Bloom impression for Black War Greymon.
I'm trying. Fighting has never answered any of my questions before. Why would it help me this time? Now is not a time for your selfishness. Your existence is defined by the choices you make and the actions you take. Sitting here for an eternity will not help you gain any more meaning. If you want meaning, look for it down there where all the defenseless Digimon are. They're fucking shaming this man, aren't they?
They have to. It's the only way.
A picture of Ogmon entered Black War Greymon's mind, followed by the flower he saw while fighting the Mammothmon.
Oh, good times.
His eyes through the conversation sprung open. His eyes that were closed through the conversation sprung open. He stood up lethargically and looked around to face Azulongmon. The two stared into each other's eyes until Black War Greymon declared, I will fight.
Woo!
Oh.
Deborah.
Deborah's fucked.
War's gonna witness Black War.
Deborah's gonna look and go,
Gray.
who's this black man?
This Black Greymon.
After deciding to help Azulongmon in the digital world, Black War Greymon flew off to fight Deborah. Dark clouds were covering the land, and the closer Black War Greymon got to Deborah, the darker the world seemed. The land itself looked dead, with wilting plants, leafless trees, and no Digimon to be seen. Black War Greymon finally spotted some life and decided to see if the Digimon needed help. Black War Greymon saw the Digimon was a Vilemon and was dragging a large brown sack. The Vilemon was mumbling something to itself. What are you doing? Asked Black War Greymon, which startled the Vilemon.
Black War Greymon is such a mouthful. He writes it so many times.
I hate that, yeah. Vilemon quickly turned around and got on his hands and knees and pleaded, oh, please, how does he sound?
Vilemon?
Yeah.
Oh, please, don't do that to me.
Oh, please don't hurt me, you're the man of kindness.
He sounds vile.
Yeah.
Sounds Vilemon.
That's where he got the name.
I was just bringing these goodies to you. How would you like a nice digi
A
mushroom?
mere goodie.
It's got sprinkles. Well, maybe it doesn't, but I can find some if you want. He ended his last sentence with a nervous laugh. Your offer's nice. Blackboard Greymon started half confused by the situation, but I'm not the one you speak of. Vilemon finally looked up at the tall figure. The sun's in his eyes. He's just like groaning.
The Digi-sun is in my eyes.
The Digi-sun is in my Digi-eyes.
Don't start there.
With Digi-will and Digivice in hand, it's a dynamic force in Digiland.
He realized...
MCP pod in the house!
Oh my god. He realized it was not Deborah. Oh, well then, this Digi-mushroom is mine. I stole it fair and square, and you can just forget about the sprinkles. Blackboard Greymon was taken aback and was even more confused. Usually Digimon were too afraid to even look at him, but now this Vilemon is screaming at him. Only Arukinimon had ever done that before. Regaining his sense, Blackboard Greymon asked, "Why are you yelling at me, and why are you stealing at a time like this?" All the Digimon were destroyed or left this area, so I'd say it's not even stealing. Blackboard Greymon swiftly grabbed Vilemon by his left arm. "You are still taking Digimon's belongings. You should return them immediately." He was surprised to find no fear in Vilemon. "You make it sound like I caused all this damage." "Well, it wasn't even me. As far as I'm concerned, I thought it was that guy named Deborah. I'm keeping it." Blackboard Greymon, very annoyed at this point of view, threw Vilemon to the ground. "I have no time for this now. I will return to deal with you after I defeat Deborah." You let him get away with that, you punk ass. Jesus Christ.
I don't have time for this. I have to go fight another anime character. But I'll be back. I'll kick your ass later.
Vile, man. Let's see here.
You are so vile.
You think you can defeat Deborah? He makes you look like a rookie. No other Digimon has ever been able to survive a few minutes against him. You may have been top Mon at one point, but those days are over. Vilemon then sprinted away from Blackboard Greymon. Now I realize why he was not afraid of me.
At full speed.
Now I realize why he was not afraid of me, thought Blackboard Greymon. Deborah is stronger than any of these Digimon. Perhaps this is the warrior I used to seek.
I used to seek.
Move it a bit more to the left. No, back to the right.
Fuck Deborah.
Yes, right, about there. Perfect. Deborah was deciding where his new couch should go.
Couch? Not even. I was
couch.
expecting like a statue of him, or at least a throne,
Right.
not a couch.
That's his new couch.
How many?
He's crashing in the Digiworld.
It's not even an ego thing.
It's an e-couch.
It's a comfort thing. He likes his couch.
While you clean up the mess, I'm gonna take a
Choose monster, then Digiball, power up, now drop. I'm ultimate, I'm champion, I'm mega, the way.
The all-new Digi Battle Card Game from Bandai.
Digimon.
You run away again, buddy, and you're totally grounded.
80 renegade Digimon. They run away, and you have to get them back. The Digimon World video game, rated T, new from Bandai.
That is not okay.
Here's the music.
The fucking music.
My body is destroying itself, and it has nothing to do with the suicide drink I made.
I feel that. I have a massive headache.
Why'd you scream?
Stop watching that!
It's not okay. You sent it to me! It's like the first time you messaged me on Twitter!
He turned into Rick Scott.
The format is critical. It has to be a low resolution Twitter video or it doesn't work.
You're right, you're right.
Please continue, Steven-san.
Good. Wait, no, this isn't right. But that couch looks perfect. There, what's wrong? Asked Foreman, one of DeBoer's designers.
DeBoer's.
DeBoer put an orange in my throat. Yes, but you're forgetting something. DeBoer raised his hand and shot a key blast at the couch.
I thought you were gonna say Keyblade.
That'd be cool.
The Keyblade emerged.
DeBoer raised his hand and shot a key blast at the couch. The explosion scattered the 4 Bakemon carrying the couch. I don't plan on having any visitors. Then why'd you ask us to get a couch in the first place? Haven't you figured it out yet? I enjoy torturing souls as well as controlling others. Wasting their time with these needless jobs allows me to exploit both of my talents.
Talents.
He's kind of wasting his own time too by doing this.
He's having fun.
He's king, he's murdered most of the people in this fucking land.
That's true.
And the ones he haven't, he's pranked.
He's murdering them by trolling them.
But there is one object this place is missing. A flower statue. What do you mean?
Oh, no.
Asked the shaking Floramon.
He's gonna do the thing where he spits.
DeBoer then spit onto her head, turning her to stone.
No!
Ah ha 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 ha! All those years serving Bobbity are finally over. Now I am in charge again.
Oh no, I could spit.
I'm in charge of who I spit on again.
I think I'll have a feast to celebrate.
A feast.
The roast beast.
DeBoer proceeded to spit into the air and then catch into his own mouth.
What?
Feast.
Why'd he do that?
I've never heard of a worse feast.
Is he trying to turn himself into stone?
I don't. Why would that
Eliminating the
work?
problem.
That'd be good.
Time for a feast. That's ass.
That's so. Oh my god.
Why'd he do that?
DeBoer licked his lips and thought, maybe I'll have some Minotaurmon steak or some Gisomon sushi. Why did he do that?
He licked his lips, it was tasty.
Why'd he
So,
spit in his own mouth?
to prep his mouth. Getting oiled up.
God.
Can you spit in your mouth, Elias?
I'm not gonna try inside.
Yeah, you are.
It'll go right against the
Can you
ceiling and
spit?
splat everywhere.
Can you spit into someone else's mouth?
Can you
Not,
spit on Steven?
not with accuracy.
Yeah, can you do that?
Maybe if I had a big loogie.
Okay, can you work one up?
I can.
I do not want to.
Well, you're too close. Terra Destroyer! A large sphere of energy hid DeBoer's lair. What was that? The whole building is shaking.
Huh?
That couldn't be a Digimon, could it? A surprised DeBoer flew above his lair to meet his opponent. It is a Digimon, but not like I've ever seen before. He suddenly became confident again and thought to himself, maybe this Digimon can offer me a challenge. Finally, I have sought after you for some time now, but my quest comes to an end. Well, you have found me, but you could have used the doorbell instead of destroying half of my castle. Your castle? You're a foreign object to this world. You can never have a home here.
Harsh.
Damn. Oh, and who do you think you are to tell me this? I've destroyed countless Digimon before you. What makes you different?
I'm black.
Yeah.
Greymon.
I am Black and Greymon. I am Blackwood Greymon, and I am here to put meaning into my life by stopping you from taking others' lives. Deborah let out a great laugh. Well, alright then. If you think you can stop me while the rest of your kind cannot, then come and give it a try. Blackwood Greymon flew at Deborah with his claw landing right in Deborah's gut. Deborah's taken by surprise at the
Jesus
speed and
Christ.
strength this Digimon possessed.
He impaled him.
Just immediately off the bat. Blackwood Greymon then grabbed Deborah's leg and began swinging him over his head. He then launched Deborah into his lair. There, Deborah lay motionless.
Well,
Was that really the demon that threatened our entire world? Blackwood Greymon asked himself in disbelief. Perhaps I should remove his castle from existence. Terradis... Huh, what's that? A white sheet flew up and hit Blackwood Greymon in the face. The
a white sheet?
Yeah, sorry about that, Blackwood Greymon. Huh? Blackwood Greymon. Gah! The sheet turned out to be Bakemon. He tried to escape from Blackwood Greymon, but the armored Digimon grabbed onto him. What are you doing in this castle? Demon King Deborah has a lot of us Digimon locked up in there. He loves to torture us and turn us into lawn ornaments. Lawn ornaments? He spits on you and you turn to stone. I saw him do it to a Floromon. Turn to stone? When is he not gone? What? When
is he not gone?
Yes, they're turning to stone because he ain't leaving home. The Bakemon began to sniffle. And they can't carry on. Yes, they're turning. They're turning into stone.
Sniffle.
We get it!
That rhyme was so beautiful.
God. Bakemon was bawling at the end of the sentence.
Bakemon was balling a b-ball between his legs.
He was fucking doing the Globetrotters.
He doesn't have legs.
Not exactly sure what to do, Blackwood Greymon tried to calm Bakemon with a few pats on his head. There. I need your help to free the prisoners. Bakemon started to relax when he saw a ball of energy come flying at the two of them from the ground. Yeah, what's that? Blackwood Greymon rotated to see the frightened Bakemon. He slammed the ball away from them with his right claw. It appears my challenger is not yet surrendered. Get out of here, Bakemon, before he turns you to stone. Okay. Deborah flew up to Blackwood Greymon. I'm honored to finally meet a Digimon with such speed and strength. I was holding back before, but be sure I will fight for real now.
You're impaled.
What do you mean you were holding back? He immediately caught you off guard.
He stabbed you.
Right. He gathered his energy. When he finished, he launched himself at the Digimon. The two fought equally matched for a while. They continuously met each other's punches and kicks. Deborah used a few ki blasts, but Blackwood Greymon deflected them all. After the swarm of ki blasts, the Digimon flew in for another punch to the demon's gut. Deborah dodged the attack and elbowed Blackwood Greymon in the back, sending him falling to the ground. However, he recovered before contact and landed safely on his feet. Deborah joined him. That was a fun warm-up. Now it's time to get serious. Warm-up? Blackwood Greymon remembered his encounter with Vilemon. He already realized Deborah was going to be stronger than most foes, but now he completely understood why Vilemon was not the least bit scared around him. God.
He needs to find Black Metal Garurumon to DNA Digivolve.
He does. Let's see here.
seem bored, Steven.
Huh?
You seem bored.
Yeah, this isn't going the way I thought.
How long is the story, Steven?
Like 3 more chapters.
You picked a long one, huh?
Yeah, apparently. What?
Just make up your own ending.
Oh, okay. That's actually a lot better. Okay, so Blackwell Greymon realized that the only weakness to Deborah was to destroy an item that he actually liked, which was actually the couch that he didn't destroy. And so Deborah,
the couch.
and so he saw his couch through the window of the castle, and he launched towards it. And Deborah immediately knew what he was looking at. I was like, "Oh, my couch!" And he flew down to fucking stop him. But then Blackwell Greymon psyched him out and gave him in the gut, and then that time it actually killed him. But then Deborah's like, "I wish to die, listen as I live, to get me my Jim Varney CD." And so, and so they put in Ernest Goes to Jail, and they've showed him the scene where Ernest gets electric powers and destroys the jail, and then he died happily with like a tear down his cheek.
Perfect. I'm sure that's the way the author would have intended.
Alright, who's next?
We didn't rate it.
Oh, okay. I rated 3 Verns out of should have made that the ending.
I rate it one big feast.
I rate it a 3-clawed spike wound in the chest. I can go ahead and get down with it.
Okay.
Mine, I know, is longer than the word limit, so I'm only going to read a few chapters, depending on how long they are, because I think it's very funny.
Okay.
Good news. There are 258 chapters.
Jesus Christ!
Oh my god. How long are they? I see your fingers scrolling.
Pretty decent length. Not the longest we've seen, but well, wow. Okay. He feels warm sun on his skin, wind rushing through his hair, hears the soft sound of birds twittering by, a lapping brook beyond that. It all seems so peaceful, but yet so wrong. His fingers twitch, expecting concrete or maybe carpeting, but instead dirt burrows under his fingernails as he cringes as a small rock embeds itself in his cuticle.
No.
What the hell?
None of this makes sense. His last memory was walking through the halls of the latest hotel when... Aha! He thinks he knows what's going on finally, determined now not to move and give them the satisfaction. Only his 2 teammates could possibly pull something like this off, and he wonders why exactly it took him so long to realize. He keeps his eyes closed even as he opens his mouth. Hey Roman! Dean!
No.
I'm not sure what kind of prank you two are pulling, but shh! A sharp voice to his left breaks into Seth Rollins' words, and this does make him sit up in a hurry, eyes wide open as he prepares to defend himself against whatever it is. You don't want the bad ones to hear you. He looks around for the owner of the voice, eyes narrowed suspiciously. Bad ones? Where are you? Who are you? The voice sounds exasperated and amused at all once when it speaks again. I'm right in front of you, silly. Look down.
Oh no.
Seth follows the command despite not knowing why, his eyes trailing around the grass and seeing absolutely nothing until he spots a pair of eyes blinking up at him, and he scrambles back, disbelieving what he's seeing. Okay, so I've hit my head, he mutters to himself. It's fine, concussions, I've had those before. He continues to ponder the ramifications of a concussion on the Shield's success now, so soon after WrestleMania, but he knows that Roman and Dean will be able to keep things moving until he's cleared to compete again. So I'll wake up and this'll just be some bizarre-ass dream, no big deal. He moves to stand up, but the creature still staring beetily at him follows, Seth watching it warily until he's safely on his feet once more. What do you think you're doing? I'm coming with you. That's what partners do. It chatters, bright red eyes locked on him as he finally manages to determine where it ends in the grass it's standing and begins, as both are the same shade of green. It's small, with dark blue stripes crisscrossing its body, and he almost feels ridiculous at being so startled by such a thing, but when he had been sitting down, it had seemed much more threatening somehow. My name's Betamon, and you're Seth. Oh yeah, okay, definitely a nightmare.
And you're Seth. Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
His damn fucking rubber vest and shit is ring gear.
This real man green screened on a Digimon background. He turns sharply and starts to walk away, disturbed by just how real everything looks, feels, smells, sounds, more so than any dream he's ever had in his life. The grass rustles behind him and he can only imagine the strange creature still chasing after him, but he purposely ignores it, thinking perhaps if he walks alone enough, something will happen and he'll be snapped back to reality, like in most nightmares. Or, best case scenario, Dean and Roman will notice he's trapped in his own subconscious and wake him up themselves.
What do you say, Betamon?
Betamon, yeah.
Why Betamon?
I don't know, he's
Small
cool.
mohawk lizard man?
He's a rookie that has a full line. It makes perfect sense.
Hmm.
He digivolves into Seadramon.
Ooh. See that.
But the longer he walks, the more doubtful he becomes of this. He can't have Agumon or someone. Tai already has him.
Yeah, but it's...
He
they
can.
could have anyone.
It's okay, he can. He'll cash in his briefcase and steal it.
Betamon is 3 inches long. He's a small amphibian.
What's it?
Like a gecko.
Yeah. With a mohawk.
Oh my god.
The leaves brushing against his skin whenever he ventures too close to trees feels real. The dew from the grass that slaps the inch of skin not covered by his pants or shoes tickles like it would in reality. And he grows tired of walking after 15 minutes, just like in the real world.
What?
Right.
He's a fucking athlete!
I think the person who wrote this doesn't quite get...
It's just
You're
how it
right.
is. That's how it is in this Pitchiverse.
So he stops and turns around, unsurprised to find the creature from before still following him, slowing to a stop a few feet away and peering up at him with the same steadfast gaze from its oddly colored eyes. What is this place? It's the digital world, Betamon beams proudly as he explains, inching closer to the human. Or, as some call it, the Digiworld. Welcome. Seth hesitates and grimaces, pinching his nose. It could still be a dream. He once more tries to convince himself despite everything in him saying, nope,
He says,
it's far from a dream.
"Pew."
Why am I here? Because you're my partner, Betamon says simply, as if announcing that the sky is blue, grass is green, and all those other cliches that Seth generally can't stand but doesn't have the brain power to think beyond right now. It's our job to help protect the Digiworld. What? He demands, cringing back when the small green creature scurries forward, looking like he's about to climb up Seth's leg like some overly excited puppy.
Cringing backward.
Betamon scampering up Seth Rollins' leg.
He's like 6'3", man. In his in-ring gear.
Us? Protect this place? All alone? His dark eyes trail along the large expanse of land, shaking his head as he digs his fingers into his hair, tugging at the rare strands of blonde that show up among the non-bleached ones. Of course not, Betamon exclaims, shaking his head in disbelief at Seth, which would be his entire body.
His wide, flat body.
There are many others. Where do you think we're going? Seth stares down at him, bewildered. Me? I was hoping to go back to Earth. Sorry, not yet. It's not far now. You nearly found the place all on your own. He chatters happily, running on ahead and leaving Seth to follow, a blank look on his face as he wonders for the millionth time exactly what the hell is going on. Come on, Seth! He walks a little faster, mouth suddenly growing dry as he feels a number of eyes on him, hundreds of them at least, adding to his trepidation of what exactly he's been thrown into the middle of. If he didn't know better, he'd still think it was some sort of overly detailed rib from Dean or Roman, but no. They wouldn't have let it go on this long, ruining it with their laughter long before now. This only makes him feel worse as he walks through the lines of more trees. Betamon seeming more than confident in where he's going than Seth than anything he's seen since waking up 20 minutes earlier. Finally, they reach a clearing and Seth breathes a little easier, that feeling of being stared at from either side disappearing as suddenly as it begun. They're still standing there, Betamon looking around with a bizarre happiness about him, when Seth hears voices from all around. Can you guys make like muddling whisper sounds in the background? And oddly enough, some sound familiar. His brows furrowing as grass parts and leaves rustle, footsteps approaching them. Betamon looks unconcerned even as Seth again turns in a circle, wondering how he could defend himself against all of them alone. He sharply misses Dean and Roman's dependable presence by his side, though he's not sure what they could do against more creatures like Betamon if the need arises, but still he'd rather fall with them by his side than fight alone. But the faces that appear once he registers them are familiar ones, if not ones he'd exactly like to see at any time. Most enemies of the Shield at one point or another in the year and a half they dominated the WWE. Nonetheless, he says very little as they approach, looking as wary as he feels. Each are accompanied with creatures of their own various sizes and types, Seth finding himself analyzing theirs against Betamon as if it was some sort of strange competition, which most everything is in wrestling, so why not this, whatever this may be, as well. He glances around at the group of them standing around awkwardly in the clearing, counting heads quickly, and he wonders what exactly is going on that 10 wrestlers would be called from this strange world and given little creatures to stalk them all around. The Miz is across from him, staring blankly down at a stoic-looking purple dragon-type creature with small wings on either arm that looks like they couldn't support Betamon, much less his bulkier body. Seth looks over at a cooing sound, finding Alicia Fox playing with a strange plant-looking thing, rubbing the petals coming from a flower growing on its head between her fingers gently.
Alicia Fox.
Ricardo Rodriguez is standing a bit away from the rest, kneeling down next to a small blue beast with a yellow V between his eyes, a curious look on his face as they talk lowly.
Why does Ricardo have a fucking Vima?
Ricardo's not even a wrestler there.
He's in the fanfiction. He's in the cinematic universe.
Oh my god.
Likewise, Heath Slater too is talking with his, a strange brown rabbit with 3 horns and massive ears, who has made itself comfortable on top of his head, his ears drooping down the rest on Heath's shoulders. AJ Lee doesn't seem as thrilled with hers, however, a deep frown on her face as she stares into the icy blue eyes of the golden-furred bipedal fox, who is slightly taller than her.
What? She got a cool one.
Is that Renamon?
Yeah, that's Renamon.
So she got Renamon. Hold on, let's recap. She got Renamon. Heath Slater got Lopmon, which is the Terriermon look-alike.
I'm so happy that Heath Slater's in this.
Ricardo Rodriguez got Vmon. Alicia Fox got either Floramon or one of those Palmon knockoffs.
I'm gonna show Elias Ricardo Rodriguez.
And the Miz got, I don't remember his name, but it's another one of those like one of the like
Infants.
yeah. It's like one of the little dragon types that I don't think was ever an anime mainliner, but it was like a game mainliner. So it's important, clearly.
That's Ricardo Rodriguez. He's a little manager boy.
I hate all these adults standing around with Digimon next to them that are off like 3 feet tall at the most.
My god. There's like a manager, a like mid-card female wrestler, a high-card female wrestler, and then like... God, Seth Rollins, who probably around this time, being as Ricardo's around, was probably like... Nah, he was still part of the Shield if if Ricardo's there. And then there's...
Yeah, this is like the height of the Shield.
Yeah, like a low-carder 3MBS, Heath Slater. Jesus Christ. Okay.
He smirks as he glances over now to find Zack Ryder watching on in awe as a cream-colored thing resembling a hamster flaps at the wings on each side of its head, fluttering at eye level with him grinning largely.
It gave Zack Ryder Patamon.
Sure.
God.
Not far away, Dolph Ziggler is leaning near a purple creature with yellow eyes, the two of them looking mischievous as they get to know each other. That's not a descriptive thing.
A purple creature?
With yellow eyes.
What?
That could literally be anything. There's no defining features. Alberto Del Rio is another that looks unimpressed. The beast at his feet indeterminable from this distance. Seth only really able to get a good look at the blue and white fur covering his body, leaving only his face and a bit of his midsection slightly visible.
He's got a big character.
He got Gabumon.
Why do both Ricardo and Alberto get their own Digimon?
Why do you think why do you think Ricardo wouldn't get one?
He's pretty much already Alberto's Digimon. What the hell?
You put it that way.
There are too many characters here.
Yeah, you've been introducing characters for like 5 minutes.
Right, and I'm like imagining them all in their ring gear, so there's just grown men in just trunks and boots and shit.
And these like saturated colored backgrounds. Yeah, not to break away for too long, but just like again with the Tri movies, they have to like make a point that like there are 8 teens there with 8 Digimon, and they all have something to say at all times. So just imagining this with all these like quick-witted wrestlers and tiny Digimon that act like children.
Do you think they each have like a microphone to do promos with their Digimon?
Yes.
They can only talk when they're holding the mic.
Yeah.
Gotta pass it around.
Let's see, where was I? But Wade Barrett takes the cake, Seth only just able to catch a glimpse of the thing as it peers out shyly from behind Wade's legs, wide eyes gaping around at all the humans and the companions scattered around. It appeared to have 4 ears and something like hair poking out of its head above a small moon shape. I don't remember who that is. Poking out from its head on the shape. Upon closer glance, it's obviously the thing has no visible feet. Its body ending oddly like in a cloud-like formation. I think that's like another like video game starter. Like look up Digimon World Dusk. I think that's
said that the first guy was from the Data game.
Oh, the purple one with the small arms?
Okay, so 4 ears in a moon shape? Yeah, Lunamon.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, from Digimon World Dawn Dusk, you're right. Okay.
I know Digimon.
Glad Wade Barrett got that thing.
Yeah, it's funny.
I'm sure I'm glad Wade Barrett is also here.
I'm sure I'm glad there are 10 WWE wrestlers in this world.
Important.
And none of them are the ones Seth wants to see.
Why
Why isn't Kane here?
Why isn't Kane there?
Let's see. Wade looks exasperated as every time he moves away from the small thing, it scrambles to resume hiding behind his legs, the Brit rolling his eyes as he rubs a hand down his face.
The Brit?
None of them have a lot of time to react to or absorb the situation they find themselves in. However, as a voice breaks into all of their thoughts, Hello! All of the humans jumped, turning in a hurry to face this new presence, but the creature by their side seemed undisturbed, as if they recognized the situation, and some even say hello back while Seth examines the person standing before them. He seems young, yet impressive at the same time, thick brown hair ruffling in the wind as he stares at them, a wizened look in his dark eyes. I am pleased to finally meet you. Seth takes the initiative, months of being in the Shield having taught him if he wants something, he needs to step forward and speak up or risk never having it at all. Who are you? Where are we? What's going on? The man examines him with a growing smile before he chuckles warmly, outstretching his arms. This is the digital world, Seth, he says simply, barely blinking an eye when the man flinches at again being called by his first name by someone he'd never met before. My name is Luke, and you can think of me as your guide while you adjust to this world.
Your
Can you
guy.
please look up Digimon Luke and see if anything comes
I thought
up?
that was gonna be Luke Harper for a minute. I was like, what the hell?
Did you say guy or guide?
Guide.
Okay.
I will not be your guy.
I will be your guy.
Because I really like to hope that's the writer's insert.
I will be the giant Luke head.
Am I getting... Oh, Digimon Amino.
What?
Wait, what?
That's like a blog, or that's like a forum. That's not.
I think I might have... Who is it by?
I don't know.
Okay, I think that's a self-insert regardless.
Hell yeah.
Finally, a giant floating OC head.
It's the writer himself.
The perfect writer. Himself.
Let's see. What is going on? Well, that would take quite some time to explain. Time, I'm afraid, we have very little of right now. The short of it is we need your help. He looks solemn suddenly as he stares down at the eager-looking beasts scattered around the Digimon, and around the humans. The creatures who have found you and led you to this place are, as they may have told you, digital monsters, or Digimon as they prefer to be referred as. As you may have guessed from the names, this world, these creatures, they have been comprised of data from what the other world calls the Internet. Most data is sound, peaceful, but others have been corrupted by time or evil. What humans would call viruses have slowly infested our world, making parts of it unsound or vulnerable to further attack. Why is this a self-insert and not Jedi?
Like, I've been looking and it looks like Luke is actually like a popular, like, fan character who has Tentomon as his partner.
Cool.
I've stumbled into a weird rabbit hole with that.
He sighs and paces a bit before turning back to the humans. We have done what we can, reformatted the world, reset what we could, but it does very little. The viruses keep coming, finding ways to disrupt what had once been a peaceful existence, creating new, evil Digimon faster than we can prepare for. What do you expect us to do then? Miz speaks up, clearly not fully sold on what's going on around here. If you agree to become the new Digidestined, or as they're sometimes called, Chosen Ones, the Digimon you see beside you will become your partners, and together you will work to spread peace throughout the Digi-world, Luke explains. With your help, your partners can become stronger, digivolve into forms better suited to defending vulnerable areas. All of them peer down at the Digimon next to them, lost in thought as they try to decide on what to do from here. It's your choice. We will accept whatever you decide, but if you choose to help, there's no going back. It's a responsibility you have to be dedicated to seeing through. Seth stares down into Betamon's eyes, drawn by something that he can't describe, listening as others, Heath, Ricardo, Alicia, Zach, even Dolph, agree easily to this new world. Another world that needs someone to fight injustice and evil? I'm in, he finds himself saying, swallowing as Betamon's face lights up. Miz is next, despite his continued reluctance, never one to back away from a challenge. This leads to the group of them all turning to look at AJ, Del Rio, and Barrett, waiting for their verdict. I suppose if you want something done right, Barrett sneers, crossing his arms over his chest as the small Digimon flutters from behind one of his legs to the other. Fine then, get on with it. AJ says nothing until the fox speaks up coolly from next to her. I suppose if you're scared, she taunts, staring at AJ.
They couldn't afford her voice actor.
There's so many goddamn characters.
That's Digimon!
By the way, I looked it up on the fandom website, digimon.fandom.com, and Luke is a made-up character, but he is registered with digimon.fandom.com.
That's cool.
Interestingly.
It's crazy.
I'm glad he's got power. Please! The freshly former Divas champion snaps, reacting exactly the way her potential partner has foreseen. Fine, I'll help out as well. This leaves Alberto, the Mexican aristocrat, unimpressed by anything he's seen thus far, his dark eyes traveling from person to person in disgust. The Digimon next to him remains silent, patient as Del Rio weighs the situation he finds himself in, surrounded by people he either never liked or has massive fallouts with recently. It's only when he looks at Ricardo, who seems unsurprised by his lack of response, that his pride takes a hit. Not wanting to be seen as less than his former ring announcer, who had agreed readily to whatever madness this is. Fine, he snarls, turning his gaze to Luke. Perfect, Luke says, gazing at the 10 new Digidestined before him. You will need, he claps his hands, and there's a brilliant flash of light that leaves all of them gasping and blocking their eyes to protect their vision. Something warm and durable fitting in the palm of their hands. Digivices. They are the first thing you will need to help your Digimon become stronger and digivolve. Follow me, please. As he walks off, the humans reluctantly draw their gazes away from the rigid items that in their hands, with small screens that resemble phones, except for the weird words and images sprawled along the rough surfaces. He leads them to a cliff, where a tall woman who looks like an angel of war stands, her head tilting towards them though they can't see her eyes. Turquoise armor covering half of her face and most of her body, multiple wings coming from various parts of her body. They all gape at her in awe, most of their focus on the staff with a spear at the end that's taller than its wielder. Ophanimon. Luke, she says calmly, standing at attention as they approach. These are the new chosen? Yes, they are, he responds. Introductions will have to be done another time, however. There is an issue arising in the virus sector. Understood. Ophanimon steps away from the cliff, revealing a larger screen that is surrounded by a rigid plastic, much like what their Digivices are made of. These portals will take you to different parts of the Digiworld.
We haven't even gone to, any actual plot!
We haven't gotten to Chapter 2!
There are still characters to introduce.
These portals will take you to different parts of the Digiworld, he tells the confused-looking people.
These portals will all lead back to my bathroom, so if you have to use the restroom, now's your chance.
We're not stopping on the way.
Do you think that there's going to be a point where all 10 of them use a finisher move on a Digimon?
Do you think there's going to be a point where all 10 of them walk in the bathroom at the same time and then awkwardly leave?
You need to hold your Digivices out to it and say, Digiport open, and it'll take you where you need to go. Give it a try. None of them seem that inclined to move, but finally Seth steps forward, staring down at the dark blue Digivice in his palm for a moment, before holding it up to the portal. Oh, they got D3s, yo.
Oh, shit.
Digiport open, he calls out, the gasp that follows swallowed away in a sea of swirling data as he feels himself being sucked into the glowing screen. A rainbow of colors, all that he sees for long. 10 seconds until he hits the ground hard, grunting when he's kicked in the side and even stepped on at one point by the others falling through to the other side, same as he had. Gingerly making it to his feet, he glances around to find the other 9 struggling to their feet, peering around. They're in a mountainous region, some looking suspicious like active volcanoes. The fact that leaves most of them even more reluctant to step ahead. Did he say we're in a virus sector? Heath says a minute later, the doubt in his voice about as thick as a southern accent.
Is that Heath Slater?
Yeah.
Oh, his whole gimmick is that he's a one-man band.
I believe so, yes, Barrett said grimly. They all exchange glances before Seth steps forward, looking for the issue that Luke had mentioned to Ophanimon, though it's hard to see anything past the tall ridges. Do you smell that? The Brit asked after a moment, Seth pausing as yes. He begins to smell the acrid stench of smoke as well. He partially scrambles up the nearest mountain until he can have something of a vantage point, looking around until he locates the source, a small wood not that far away, lit in billowing flames as more trees succumb. He swallows, staring at the scene before him, when he realizes it. The flames are being caused by orange dinosaur-like Digimon, a group of them running around, shooting off fireballs from their mouth with vicious precision. Seeing the reason for their being brought here, he slides back down the mountain to join others. I found it! Come on! He urges them, racing around the mountain towards the spreading fire. The group of them quickly see the problem and follow him, their Digimon eager to help where they can as well. Guilmon, Mrs. Partner snarls, his eyes flashing as he clicks his claws together.
The Miz is here?
Yes! You didn't notice?
I guess not. What the fuck?
And his partner's Guilmon.
Well, I'm
His
glad.
partner is Gil from Street Fighter.
I'm glad the Miz felt so left out he had to make his OC Digimon.
He's not an OC.
Not anymore. He became real.
He's the Miz's OC officially now.
He became a chalk zone drawing from Rudy.
Seth can't even keep track of how many of the evil-looking Digimon are causing all this mayhem around the base of the trees, but he knows that they have to do something. There may be other Digimon living in that copse of trees. Not to mention how bad things could get if the flames spread out of control. Unfortunately, the heat keeps them back, unable to approach and attempt to stop the rampaging Guilmon, Seth biting his lips as he tried to think of a way to do something. So no, Guilmon's not Mrs. Partner. He was saying that there are Guilmon here.
Oh, okay.
So there's a bunch of OC-mon running around going, "Nrrr."
As they do.
He's also voiced by Steve Bloom.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That man's got range.
He does. Jesus
He can
Christ.
go from Spike Spiegel to Takato Man.
We realized when me and my girlfriend are replaying Sonic Forces, and we just realized that he plays friggin' Espio now.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It seems like a weird role, but I guess if he has the range for it, whatever.
Yeah, it fits surprisingly well.
Espio
Mm-hmm.
or Guilmon?
SPO.
Okay. Steve Bloom was like the director for the English dub of the series that Guilmon was in.
Mm-hmm.
So he was in charge of everyone, and he put a bunch of like weird in jokes in all the time.
I see.
He was like half the cast in that show.
That's how voice acting dubs are.
Mm-hmm. But it's fine. He made it work. They're all shocked when there is a soft call from near Wade, the white creature that somehow was his partner, finally showing itself from behind him and hovering by his shoulders. "Tear, shoot!" she cries out, voice clear as a gleaming orb forms on the tip of the growth forming out of her forehead. I don't like that they called it a growth. Seth suddenly suspecting that it's some sort of antenna as the force grows in size, stabilizing into a water ball that she sends out towards the flames, it exploding like a wet bomb, diminishing the flame some. Wade looks impressed, but before he can say anything to the creature, a few of the Guilmon approach, clearly taking offense to their handiwork getting tarnished. "They're bullies!" Betamon says confidentially, standing between the nearest Digimon and Seth. "Truly stand up to them and they will run in the opposite direction, I have no doubt. Electric shock!" A blast of electricity strikes a couple of the Guilmon and they stagger, snarling and scrambling before, and as he had predicted, they turn and run off, leaving their fellows to fight on their own. AJ's fox partner, still ignoring her, leaps forward and crosses her arms over her chest before throwing them out in the front of her forcefully. "Diamond Storm!" she calls out, sharp shards raining down from her forearms and exploding at the feet of more of the Guilmon, pelting some of them with dirt and rocks. Bada boom! The purple Digimon rushes away from Dolph. Oh, he's got an Impmon.
Oh, okay.
That's funny.
But
You know, that purple Digimon with yellow eyes.
God.
He's like black.
They've lost control of their own story. They stopped naming things.
Jesus
They
Christ.
start calling things by color.
Hand held high as he snaps his fingers. Dark flames forming at his fingertips before he throws it at the remaining Guilmon, the rookies scrambling from this attack as well, the last of their confidence failing with the retreat of the others. "One more, Lunamon," Wade calls out, Seth turning to find that his partner is forming more energy into a water ball, spinning towards the flame to shoot it off at the trees. As soon as it explodes, soaking the last of the fire, it diminishes, leaving behind smoking, blackened trees. It's far from a pretty sight, but still, it's much better than how it all would have ended up, should they not have arrived when they did. Seth sighs, trying to wrap his head around all of this. It still feels like a dream, but with each passing minute, he finds himself wanting to believe it more and more. Just as he had the first glance about half an hour earlier, he senses an easy connection with Betamon, like perhaps they could be friends, as he had with both Roman and Dean. He frowns, glancing around at the 9 other people surrounding him.
Roman Reigns digivolved into a Betamon.
I wonder why they weren't selected to be a part of this. Once they're relatively certain the Guilmon will avoid this area for a while, eyes of various colors and shapes now peering out through the deadened wood telling them that it's time to go before they're seen as trespassers. They return through the portal to Luke as he congratulates them on a successful first mission. "I am aware of how busy you all are, so you may return to Earth right now. When I have need of you again, I will summon you through your Digivices." He smiles at them before his eyes rest on the group of Digimon grimacing. "Ah, of course. My apologies, I almost forgot. When you are on Earth, of course, you won't be able to keep your Digimon partners out with you in the open. Humans would become suspicious. They can, however, remain inside of your Digivices safely until you return here." He directs them on how to accomplish this, watching as the group of them hold the devices out to their partners. Seth stares at Betamon, taking a breath. "Hold, activated," he calls, watching as a gleam similar to this Digiport's takes over. Betamon turning into data and streaming into the screen of his Digivice. It immediately growing dark as soon as Betamon is safely inside. With this, it's time for them to go home, and Ophanimon again sees them off. This time through a different portal that's only visible when the Angel Digimon taps her staff against the cliff 4 times. A small portion of the rock falling apart to reveal a larger, more powerful portal than this one that had taken them to the virus zone earlier. They quickly take their leave of each other once they're back on Earth, barely a word spoken between any of them, and Seth lets himself into his hotel room quietly, the weight of his Digivice holding his new partner safely within its confines, a vague comfort to him as he sits down on the bed and scrapes his fingers through his hair, looking over at Dean and Roman as they sleep on, undisturbed by his sudden reappearance. He smiles and lays down, relieved for a moment of quiet after the last couple of hours. He's still not sure if it was reality, but he supposes come morning he'll know, depending on if the Digivice is still pressing against his hip or not. "Where were you?" Dean's sleep-heavy voice breaks into his thoughts. Seth smiling slightly as he rolls over to face the other man. Are they sleeping in the same bed? One
guess.
3-man-sized bed?
Jesus Christ.
He knew without looking at Roman across the room on the second bed. So him and Dean are in the same bed, but Roman has his own big boy bed. He's listening intently, merely pretending to be asleep. You wouldn't believe me even if I told you, he said, smiling to himself. Good night, boys. Night, Roman grumbles, rolling over to back to sleep now that he knows Seth's okay. Night, Dean echoes vaguely, already mostly asleep.
I can't believe this.
Only 257 chapters to go, boys.
This is a gauntlet.
Holy shit.
That's enough for now.
I
thought we'd get at least like 2 or 3 chapters into that, but oh boy, I'm out of
We're
breath.
recording already.
Like an hour and a half.
Oh my gosh.
I fucking commend them for like being that involved in such a story. I mean,
Jesus.
hell. A round of applause for the author, at least.
I can't wait to read the entire series.
The author has lost his mind.
I thought you were gonna say I can't rate this.
I cannot read.
I can't rate this. I haven't finished it.
I rate this 3 Roman-sized beds, all for Roman.
I rate this story Seth Rollins arm wrestling a metal Edamon out of 10.
I hope he does that.
I rate this one a series of unspecific colored Digimon next to hyper-realistic wrestling men.
10 out of 10.
Yes, 10 of them. Whoa. I just looked up Digimon Data Squad. Marcus looks crazy.
He's cool.
Marcus?
He's the main boy from Data Squad.
He's like an adult.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They have strong teens in that one.
Oh.
But Agumon is still a child. Like Agumon is still a child.
That's Agumon with gloves. He's different.
Oh.
Agumon with like the straps on his claws.
Yes. Because of that, he has a different Digiline.
Yeah, I was about to
With a
say,
muzzle.
I like his Greymon form a lot better.
His Greymon form is the same except he has a big muzzle. Okay.
It's the same except it has a 3-head body cannon.
My story is about 4,000 words long, but I don't know that we're going to need all that. Let's just see how it goes.
Okay, we got it.
His head ached as he woke up. The first thing he noticed was that he was lying on the ground.
I thought you were going to start reading the same one as I just
No.
read.
Better to say on the grass and that was sunsetting. Marcus rubbed his head. Oh, that hurted, he sat and looked around. Where am I? What is this place?
That's such a fucking juvenile.
It's fine.
That hurted.
Marcus is a smart man. He saw that he was in a forest, but he couldn't remember how he came here, or why. He noticed that beside him was his oh, I thought it was going to be a high C, but it's his IC burst Digivice and a flashlight.
His high C Digivice.
His high C box.
Passion, flash, and fruit punch.
He picked them up and stood up. He noticed that he was standing next to a wired gate. He touched it and withdrew his hand. The very same second he touched it, it sent a weak shockwave through his body. He waved his hand. That hurted! What the hell is going on? Why is this wire electrified? He asked, but no one answered.
Why is he a big baby?
This is dumb. He then noticed a sign on the gate.
He spelled high C on his Digivice.
It stood, I challenge you to a game. You must find 8 pages scattered through the
I
forest
know
till dawn.
I was gonna say, what is this, Slender?
Till dawn to help your partner and get out of the forest. I will
He's got
always
Agumon.
watch you.
He's got
Signed,
Agumon
Slender Man.
kidnapped. Signed, Slender.
Signed, Slender Man. Is this a joke? Asked Marcus, twirling the flashlight, because I'm not laughing.
I am.
Am I a joke? Asked Marcus.
He then shrugged and went into the forest as the night slowly took its place.
Is this Digivice a flashlight?
So why, of all characters that I... No, he had a Digivice and a flashlight. Did I choose Marcus, is the author's note. Well, first because he's brave, second because he's stupid, which will make this funny, and third,
It's true.
and third because if he can challenge a Digimon, he can challenge Slendy too. P.S. Do me a favor and review.
It's true. When you play the game that he's in, when you do like the blast Digivolve thing, he goes and like punches the other Digimon, and it actually does damage before Agumon Digivolves.
That's great.
Awesome.
It's hilarious.
Page 1, The Scary Tree. Marcus felt like walking for hours now. He had to turn on the flashlight to see something, as soon as it became really dark. He looked upwards. There were some clouds on the sky, covering the moon. I hope the sky will soon clear. I have no idea how long the flashlight will endure, said Marcus. He
That's
kept
a
on...
big word, Marcus.
He kept...
I'm impressed.
He kept on whacking.
Whacking?
Welking. Switching off and on the flashlight to save the
Walking?
batteries.
Oh, okay.
The forest was creepy. The silence which covered it could turn any guy insane, but not him. Though Marcus tried to listen hardly, if there were any noise made by crickets or wild animals. Even the sound of branches cracking would be good, but there was nothing. At last, he wanted to know that he wasn't completely alone in this dark forest, or was he really alone? ? The sign said Slenderman will always watch him. Marcus started to whistle a melody which turned out to be Harari, the second Japanese opening from Digimon Savers. He stopped as he came to a lot clearer path and noticed a dead tree in front of him. Bingo! Maybe there's one of those notes. I mean, it would be pretty obvious that a note hanging on a spot like this, he said, not knowing why the heck he had a monologue with himself. He drinks some water.
Gotta stay hydrated in pages.
He ran into the tree, switching off the flashlight. As he arrived in front of the tree, he turned it on and walked around it. Found you, he said, as he saw the page. On it was a drawing of a thin man, a sort of scribbling children usually draw. Marcus wondered if that was the slender thing or whatever. He stored it in his pocket.
Scribbling only children or Marcus would draw.
Page 1 obtained. Now where's page 2? Before he could finish the sentence, a sound interrupted him. He listened to it. Boom, boom, boom.
That noise doesn't exist in the world.
A constant bass echoed throughout the forest. Marcus looked around to find the origin of the sound, but there was nothing. It seemed like it was coming from everywhere. Sheesh, did this guy place loudspeakers all over the forest? He asked rhetorically. He then heard a sound coming from his pocket. He took it out his IC Digivice and saw faint static on it. A sense told him to keep on going. Guess I should move on, he said, and walked away. I still have to find Agumon in the other 7 pages. The constant bass kept on as he walked deeper into the forest. Boom, boom, boom. Page 2, the vehicle and RV.
He hears his own heartbeat, but he doesn't know what that is, so he's assuming it's for
He's so
him.
scared. Never been this scared before. Marcus slowly grew annoyed by the sound that seemed to grow louder and louder. Page 2, page 2, page 2. Where is page 2? He repeated continuously to ignore the creepy sound. He then realized the path was clearing. He grinned, thinking it would lead him to the second page. He jogged towards it and stopped suddenly. Grinned is spelled grind, but I just said grin because I knew that's what he meant. Aw, man. He looked at the fence. He realized he was totally lost, and the sound didn't get quieter. He turned around and walked back. As he stood now in the middle of the forested area, he heard a faint static sound coming from his Digivice. He knew he had to keep on. He walked forward as the static slowly silenced. Boom, boom, boom. The static stopped, but the annoying sound got louder, Marcus thought, flashing the flashlight right, left. A car? He suddenly saw a car and an RV. He poked his head into the car and RV and hoped to find the second page. Nothing. He hoped there would be at least keys, so he could drive the car into that annoying fence to break it, but there was nothing. He turned the flashlight off, annoyed.
At least let there be keys in this car if I don't have a page.
He turned the flashlight off, annoyed, and leaned against the back of the RV, crossing his arms and groaned. He then heard the crumbling of paper and turned the flashlight on. He saw the second page. Finally, he took it and read it. Don't look, or it takes you. How do you mean it takes you? Who? He asked. Marcus didn't notice the sound became even more intense. Boom, boom, boom. He heard the static coming from his digivice, this time louder. Marcus has the feeling someone watched him. He slowly turned around. Boom! There was the stalker, a slender humanoid figure standing 50 feet away from him. It was tall.
That's a wise away.
Yeah, it's far away.
Jesus Christ.
It was tall, wearing a white shirt, a black business suit, and has long arms. The most disturbing feature on it was its face, or the fact he hadn't had a face, or at least any facial expressions. On the bald white head were no eyes, no mouth, no nose, and how it turned out, no ears. I like how he called him a bald white head. On the bald white head.
He doesn't have a lot of descriptors.
So you're that slender guy, Marcus asked. Then he noticed something sprouting out of the creature's back. Tentacles, he thought in surprise. He made a step forward and immediately regretted it. His legs felt like pudding. A voice inside his head yelled, "Run!" like crazy. He knew he had to get away from the creature. Collecting all of his strength, Marcus turned around and ran away. Now he knew why the note said, "Don't look or it takes you." Page 3. The Tanker. Marcus looked behind him. Slender Man was standing behind him, about 70 feet away. The sky cleared and he could see him much easier. Why does he keep on following me, he wondered. I must be the only interesting thing here. He chuckled over his own joke. He noticed that his IC still showed static. It did that every time when Slender Man was nearby. Actually, it was really helpful, but it couldn't track the pages or help him get out of this place, which is why he needed to find the third page. Marcus looked back. There was a Slender Man was behind him still, but neared. Marcus always started a call to him, Slendy, but since it was a suiting nickname, boom, boom, boom. Marcus heard again the annoying sound. The constant bass echoed in the forest. It seemed to grow louder. Marcus headed towards the clearing path. He lashed his flashlight left and right, and looked back as he stopped to get rest. Slender Man wasn't behind him. Marcus stared a while at the spot where he thought Slendy would be, but as nothing appeared, he shrugged and kept on. Boom! Wow! Marcus startled as Slender Man appeared in front of him. He wasn't more than 30 feet away.
Wow.
Yeah, he said, "Wow!" exclamation point. Marcus again felt how something was straining him, and again he felt sick. He started to slowly walk backwards, keeping an eye on Slender Man. He didn't move. Gee, I know you're following me. I have no idea why, but could you follow me without giving me a heart attack? Without giving me heart attack? He said. Knowing that the creature wouldn't anyways listen to him, he only saw the tentacles spreading out of Slender Man's back. Time for Plan B, he said, and turned around. Marcus ran as fast as he could. He knew Slender Man was possibly slower than him, and this was an advantage he had to use if he wanted to survive this sick game. He suddenly popped out a tanker. Marcus's eyes widened in confusion as he saw the tanker and the car. He then walked around it and hoped to find the next page. What is a tanker?
Like a big thing full of like gas or something.
I said he suddenly popped out a tanker.
He popped out a tanker.
He suddenly popped out at... Oh, he popped out at a tanker.
At a tanker.
Right, the big like gas fill
Yes.
thing.
That's right.
He popped and locked.
Boom, boom, boom. Bingo! Marcus took the page from the back of the tanker. He looked at it. It stood. Leave me alone. It stood.
Leave me alone.
Not it said. It stood. Leave me alone. Whoever wrote this must have had a bad experience with Slendy, he muttered, not noticing that the bass stopped. He flinched as he heard a loud girl scream. His eyes widened in shock. Christy! Since when is Christy a character?
Oh, no, not Christy.
Not Gabumon.
Not Gabumon. Not Agumon.
Not Bakumon.
Bakugan.
Not the Battle Brawlers.
Marcus ran towards the place for which he thought the scream came from. This is page 4 of the tunnel, by the way.
Oh, my favorite.
Christy, Christy, he yelled. He had hoped nothing happened to his sister. Random thoughts rushed through his mind.
Christy, Christy, Christy.
What was Christy doing here? Did something happen to her?
I'm gonna hurted you.
What if Slender Man was involved? What if really Christy who screamed? What if she was the one who left the notes? Marcus didn't want to believe that. He had to find out what was going on. Boom, boom, boom. His heart beat in the same rhythm as the bass. Marcus allowed himself a stop at a strange entrance. It looked like a sort of cave. He looked at it. It actually was a tunnel. He pointed his flashlight at it. Christy, are you here? His voice echoed. He could swear he heard steps. He heard steps. He decided to enter it, checking his IC. There was no static this time. Christy? Christy? He called out his sister's name as he walked into the tunnel. It was cold and dark inside. A rat passed him. The floor was wet. Though worried for Christy, Marcus also looked out for the next note, just in case. He managed to find it at the very end of the tunnel, which turned out to be a dead end. On it was written, "Help me!" Marcus gulped. He wished he
not a
could...
dead end. It's just an opening on both sides.
This one is. Marcus gulped. He wished he could help the person who wrote it.
Look, Marcus isn't very smart. He doesn't know how to get out of the pipe.
It's dark.
He turned around and decided to get out of this place since Christy wasn't in here. Boom! Just as he turned around, he saw Slender Man in front of him.
Oh no, Marcus, what are you gonna do to get out of this one?
He was standing there glancing at Marcus. Glancing.
Right.
Just half-ass looking at him like, oh, there he is.
He doesn't have eyes!
He's got a bald head.
He can't possibly glance. He has no facial features to denote anything.
Though Marcus wasn't sure if he was really glaring at him since he had no eyes. He noticed the tentacles spreading from the creature's back.
Fuck.
Where's my sister? What have you done with her? Marcus was enraged.
Where's Lillian?
He wanted to punch Slender Man, not caring. He's gonna clock him.
You go, Marcus. Go
He
for it.
wanted to punch Slender Man.
Not caring if he'll die or whatever. Just then, he slipped on the wet floor and fell on his back.
Oh no.
The flashlight turned off and the tunnel got covered in darkness. Marcus felt his head aching. He had no idea how long his blackout endured. He got up, picking up his IC digivice from his pocket. There was no static. He found the flashlight and turned it on. He realized he was still in the tunnel with Slendy gone. He exited the tunnel. Whoever wrote those notes was in trouble. Marcus knew he had to help that person. Page 5. The multiple bathrooms. Christy, Christy, Marcus called out for his sister. Christy! He ignored the constant bass as he jogged through the dark forest. Slendy was nowhere in sight, and it seemed like the person for whom Marcus thought was his sister wasn't also here. And even if his sister wasn't also the one who screamed, he needed to know who it actually was, just to be sure.
Good guy, Marcus.
Marcus didn't like the sudden silence. He stopped, looking around for Slender Man. His IC didn't show any static, but Marcus knew that Slendy couldn't also suddenly appear in front of him. Or could also. He didn't want to risk that. He then noticed a small building. It hadn't a door nor windows. Marcus was curious about the place. Maybe someone lived there. Maybe that very same person could help him. He hoped so. Marcus entered the house, but the only thing he saw were some chairs and the one other rat. Each room in the house looked like a bathroom. Boom, boom, boom. Again that creepy sound. Marcus already ignored it. It would stop after some time. However, he tensed, clenching his IC and looking around for Slender Man. He knew that Slender Man made him feeling weak, or sick, or both, and he didn't want to risk again such an encounter. He came to the last room and found a page hanging on the wall. Can't run, Marcus read, from Slendy. Right? He appeared always when you expect him last.
Mm-hmm.
At this very safe second, he realized the sound stopped. He breathed slowly and deeply, having a creepy feeling Slender Man appeared behind him again. Marcus looked in front of himself. There was no other option than turning around. He was in a trap. He couldn't run anywhere. Okay, Slendy, let's solve this like man and some supernatural being. He slowly turned around. Behind him wasn't anyone. Confused, Marcus checked the other rooms of the bathroom house. Nothing. He scratched his head in confusion as he exited. Then he noticed something in front of him. He pointed his flashlight towards the creature. Agumon? Marcus couldn't believe it. His own Digimon was in front of him. The little dino didn't move, nor showed any emotion. Marcus was surprised.
That's far more terrifying than Slender Man.
I agree, I'm scared.
Christ.
Agumon.
Flashes his flashlight with just a stationary Agumon, blank faced.
Agumon, what are you doing here? Do you know what is going on here? Where's Christy? I thought I heard her, he started, but then noticed something was wrong. Agumon glared at him. His eyes were empty, white instead of being green. You are going to die, muttered the Digimon.
Holy shit!
Oh no!
Marcus's eyes widened.
You are
Agumon.
You are going to die!
Hey, Marcus! You are going to die!
You sound like Usopp.
Hey, Marcus! Usopp Hammer!
Stop.
You are going to die, muttered the Digimon. Marcus's eyes widened.
We found a stationary Usopp in the middle with his eyes white instead of black.
Agumon, what is wrong with you? Hey, little brother. Marcus tried to speak with his partner. Pepper breath.
Holy fuck!
Agumon suddenly fired a fireball at Marcus.
I love how weakly you say
Pepper breath. Pepper breath.
Marcus escaped it, and Agumon rushed over to Marcus, wanting to tear him with his claws.
Oh no!
Oh no.
Marcus managed to punch Agumon right in the face, and his
Right
hand
in the
appeared.
nose like a shark, just rendering him helpless for a few minutes.
And his hand appeared as Digisoul as he noticed that he knocked Agumon out. He then heard a scream. It was much louder than before.
It was Agumon screaming in pain.
God, he freaking clocked him out in one hit.
God, I can't. I
You
can't.
gotta deal with him. You can't just let this creepy man chase you around.
Agumon didn't do shit. He was just.
He said you're going to die.
I mean, Slender Man is a nuisance, but that Agumon was terrifying. He needed to die.
Just standing outside the building.
Oh my god.
Christy, Marcus screamed.
I meant to say Agumon ain't shit. That's
Agumon gets hit right in the nose and dies.
after making that heavy threat.
Yeah. After pepper breathing him, he gets hit.
It's punched in the nose and just falls back.
Christy, Marcus screamed. With a last glance towards Agumon, he ran towards the origin. He knew he couldn't run away, but he knew he could keep on with the game. Page 6. No, 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 no. Which opens with, no, 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 no. Marcus read on the 6th page he found as he walked towards the origin of the scream. He wondered who wrote it. Did Slendy catch him? Did he get away? Marcus wanted to find out. He lashed the flashlight left and right, wondering where Slendy was. And more, what the hell was going on with Agumon? The silence was disturbing. Marcus knew that nothing had moved since the last scream he heard. He wanted to find out to whom the scream belonged. He needed to know, because if it was Christy, then Marcus knew he was watched. Again, the IC. However, he didn't turn around. He jogged through the forest, turning temporarily the flashlight off. The
Making
static
those-
slowly faded.
Making those potato chip crunches under his feet.
Yeah. Boom! It was like a thunderstrike. Marcus fell on his knees as he saw it. The person who screamed. Who wrote the notes. Who was dead. Blood dripped from the high tree, soaking the ground. He left a trail in the tree and colored the branches, and on top, Marcus's eyes teared. Christy!
Oh
He
no!
yelled.
What the fuck? Oh.
He knew she won't wake up. His little sister was on the branch, pinned through her stomach. Marcus noticed that the whole chest was ripped open and then noticed a bag hanging on her head, next to her. Never mind, it said that and then next to her. It contained her heart! How did he know if it's in a bag?
This is.
It's a Ziploc bag.
The story's taking a 90
Jeez.
degree fucking down. My god.
Yeah. Marcus gritted his teeth. He was mad. He was really mad. He wanted revenge for what Slender Man done to her. Slender Man, come out, you coward, and face me like a man, he screamed. He heard a rustle and turned quickly around. It wasn't Slender Man, but Agumon.
Oh no!
It didn't work.
Agumon, what has Slender Man done to Christy? Asked the enraged Marcus. It was her own fault.
Jesus Christ.
How did she... I gotta spit this line out.
It was her own fault.
She caused
It was her own fault. Hadn't she agreed to play, she wouldn't be here, said Agumon. And now, you won't be here too. Marcus prepared for another attack on his partner, and as another creature jumped out of the bushes, knocking Agumon out and grabbing Marcus's hand, forcing him to follow the creature, Marcus looked at the creature in surprise. Biyomon? Biyomon? Which one's that?
That's the little pink bird.
Okay.
Agumon really ain't shit. He got knocked out twice in the span of like 10 minutes.
Why is Biyomon here?
Why is Agumon an ambassador for Slender Man?
Why are his eyes washed out?
knows. As I do.
His eyes are bleeding like creepypasta.
Jesus Christ. It was her own fault.
His eyes are white from being knocked out so many times.
He's lost his fucking sight at this point.
He's blind from being hit.
He gets weaker and weaker, but he gets madder and madder.
He gets more and more scary.
More lumps in his lumpy dinosaur body.
Page 7. Always watches, no eyes. Marcus run like crazy. His lungs were aching with every breath. It was like hell was sucked into his body. He ignored it, just as he ignored the creepy music which came from everywhere. Just as he tried to ignore the picture that will for sure hunt him forever. Christy, dead. They finally stopped, breathing deeply. What the hell's going on? Marcus asked between breaths. He was mad, sad, shocked, and wanted to kill Slender Man. Not only kill him, but let him die in pain, the very same he felt currently. Still, he felt emptiness. That emptiness because of his sister's
emotionally
death.
attack Slender Man.
He wanted to punch him earlier.
He said he wants to make him feel the same way Marcus feels.
That'll teach
Yeah.
you for hurting my sister.
Yeah. That emptiness gave him the opportunity to calm down and ask a question. Something bad and dark, replied Biyomon. Explain, Marcus ordered. It started
Yeah,
a few days
please.
ago, said Biyomon. Thomas and Gaomon were the first to disappear,
Oh no,
Followed
not
by-
Gaomon.
followed by Yoshi, Lalamon, Keenan, and Falcomon.
Not that Yoshi.
Okay.
I and Christy wondered where they were. Then Slender Man appeared. He took us here and forced poor Christy to write 8 notes. Then he let us search for them, but we failed to find even one. Then he let us search for them.
They didn't even find one.
He took her
It's
away.
not a big place.
He took her away, leaving me. I searched for her, but I couldn't find her. However, I found Thomas, Yoshi, and Keenan's corpses. Biyomon gave a deep sigh. Marcus's eyes widened. They're dead? He asked emptily. He wondered when it happened. Biyomon said a few days ago, but he couldn't remember anything. Maybe it was because of the close encounters with Slendy. He hoped so. Biyomon just nodded. Why would he hope so?
Yeah.
Why would he hope they died in the worst possible way?
I met Gaomon, Lalamon, and Falcomon, who were turned into proxies, said Biyomon. Proxies? Marcus asked. Proxies are creatures, mostly humans, who do Slender Man's bidding. They're puppets, said Biyomon darkly. I had to kill them. Once they became proxies, it was impossible to turn them back to their normal selves.
Just like that news article.
Whoa.
So Agumon's a proxy too, said Marcus? How come that you didn't become a proxy yourself? I'm not sure, Biyomon said, lowering his head and voice. You're lying, Marcus gritted his teeth. You're a liar! I'm not a liar, Biyomon tried to defend himself. So tell me, what's the truth? Tell me before I strangle you to death with my bare hands, he hissed.
Marcus, that ain't gonna accomplish anything.
You could fly away from here and bring Christy to a safe place, but you didn't. You left her die. Biyomon frowned, ignoring him.
You left her
Biyomon
die.
frowned. I love when they say somebody frowns in a story.
It's a fucking...
How does Biyomon sound so I can give him a separate
How
voice?
does Biyomon frown with a beak?
Well, I
Sounds
don't
like a bird.
I guess because like
Then he
Biyomon
would've-
in the normal one's in the original one's a girl, but it's a guy this time around.
Then he would have killed her immediately. I thought he had a chance, but I was wrong, Biyomon said, a tear running down his cheek. After I found her, I saw Slender Man. He told me he had a new victim and that I have to play the guide if I don't want to end up like Gaumon and the others. Like a proxy, Marcus said. He was grieved with his sister's death, clenching his fist. Is there any way to kill that monster? As much as I know, no sorrowly, Biomon bitterly replied.
You have magic attacks.
Right.
And the only way to get out of this place is to collect all 8 pages till sunrise, then go to entrance which will be left open for 5 minutes. If not, we lose.
And then go to entrance.
Giving him a stinted accent is the only way to understand this man's writing of him. It's easier.
Just keep falling in and out of different accents with Biomon.
Okay. And that would mean, Marcus asked, reading Biomon's face. So how many pages have you collected? So how many pages have you collected? I was trying to do like Diago, like, how many pages have you collected? But it was too hard to do that, so I gave up.
How many pages
That's
Yeah.
really good. Oh my
have
god.
you collected?
Because we don't have much time left, said Biomon.
That's
6,
really
said
good.
Marcus. Biomon then bowed to get something which was between his legs and the ring on his leg. Here's the 7th, he gave it to Marcus. On it stayed. Always watches, no eyes. Marcus frowned. He then stored it inside. Let's go. Boom! Just as the two turned around, Slenderman appeared in front of them.
Holy smokes!
Page 8 follows. Biomon and Marcus glared at Slenderman. You! Marcus yelled. Madder than he'd ever been. He wanted to kill Slenderman for everything. Just then he felt sick. He felt Biomon's clawed wing hand around his own.
Oh no.
Biomon managed to pull him away from Slenderman. Now they were running. Why did you pull me away? I should have finished off that worm, said Marcus angrily.
What?
You can't kill Slenderman. He's immortal. He can't be killed, replied Biomon.
He can't be killed. Why don't you understand about that?
But there must be a way, said Marcus. We gotta get revenge for what he had done to Christy and the others. I'm sorry, but we can't. Even if we try to kill him, there's some sort of aura around him. Sound like Fat Albert now.
There's some sort of aura around him.
Which makes humans sick to death,
My humans suck to death.
said Biomon.
You're not a human!
Said
You're
the-
computer code!
Said dumb Marcus.
You mean like what I felt? Asked Marcus. Biomon nodded. The only thing we can do is bring you out of this place. Then that will tick him off, said Biomon.
Kids were always fucking Fat Albert.
Which is why we need the last page. But I have no idea where it is, said Marcus. I have a bad feeling we'll find it soon, said Biomon. And we should hurry up before... Boom. Again, there he was. Slendy stood in front of them, simply looking at them with his faceless expression.
Have you not seen that clip?
I
Just-
guess not. That just sounds.
There's a clip where there's one of the Bill Cosby segments of the show, and then I don't know what he's supposed to be saying, but he ends up saying something like, "The kids were always fucking Fat Albert." I'm sure we
you,
can
Marty.
find it if we look it up. Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, this is the finale. Come on.
Steven collapsed when I said that.
Biomon pulled him away angrily. Marcus gave a glance on his IC. There was still static on it, which became stronger, depending on how far Slendy from them was. He's haunting us, said Biomon. However, they turned out to be lucky. Just as they got in open space, Marcus lashed the flashlight to a tree. On it was white paper. Follows. That's true, he muttered as he read it. You found all 8 pages. That means we can get out of here, said Biomon. Boom. Slenderman appeared right in front of them. He was clear. He won't let them pass. This way. Now Marcus led Biomon away. The music got louder and louder with each step. It was threatening them. The horrible sound was then followed by a scream. Marcus froze for a second, but Biomon pulled him away. That's Slenderman's doing. He can imitate voices, he said. You mean he can imitate Christie's screams? Marcus asked, dumbfounded. Why is he dumbfounded? He saw she was dead.
Right.
Yes, now we gotta hurry up and find the gate. There are less than 5 minutes to go, and if we're late, we will be forever trapped here, said Biomon.
He's dumbfounded because he's dumb.
Yes.
He just
Not
went
with
for
me,
it.
replied Marcus. The sound still followed them. Boom. 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 These ones are big. They soon came to the wire. There it is, Marcus exclaimed as he saw the gate. Boom. The two stopped. The Slender Man appeared, blocking the way out. Let us go, Marcus yelled. I found the 8 pages. I have the right to leave. He froze when he heard a voice in his head. Fool, you will never leave. Once I pick my victims, I chase them to the bitter end, and yours won't be different. The voice echoed in his head. Marcus knew it belonged to Slendy. I always win. Marcus turned around and wanted to run away. However, he got confronted by Agumon and Biyomon. Both were turned to proxies with their eyes glowing red. No, he yelled. He won't give up. He'll keep on fighting. He turned to Slender Man. Just as he wanted to drive a punch, he saw black. The final chapter is called Game Over. It's only 1 page long. Marcus suddenly awoke. He realized he was in his room, in front of his computer on which was the main menu of the game Slender, the 8 pages. It was all a dream after all, he sighed. Christy walked into his room. Are you again playing that game? Mom told you not to. You have nightmares, she said. If you just knew, thought Marcus. He turned off the computer.
What, that you had a nightmare?
Okay. I'm going to sleep. He then went to the bathroom to take a shower and get ready for bed. Only he didn't know there was a figure outside in the street, standing in the darkness and the shadows. The figure had a business suit on and a bald white head. Tentacles sprouting out of his back. This is just the beginning, thought the figure, and vanished. The end? Question mark.
Okay, so before that little bit of exposition, I thought I was gonna say Marcus has some latent issues with his sister.
If you only knew.
You died.
I saw you dead.
Supposedly you deserved it.
I saw Agumon and punched him in the nose.
It was epic.
He said pepper breath, so I hit him in the head.
He
Knocked him
said,
out.
I rate that story 6 bruises on Agumon's snout.
No, it's so sad. Where Agumon's nose.
He had it coming. You were going to die.
I read it, Diago's changing voice. The 5 out of 5 voices of Diago Biyomon.
You have to gather my 8 pages.
I like how he said I didn't even find one, and then he produced one from his leg.
you're right. I rate that 8 really loud crinkles.
I was doing the Foley.
I know.
Foliage. Well, I can't believe I read that whole story. It was so good. I'm so glad.
That was
I
decent.
can't believe I
I'm
only
glad.
read 1 chapter of my story.
I'm sad that I had to make up the ending for mine.
No, it was perfect. So at least yours had an ending.
True, fair.
Don't worry, we'll read the rest of mine.
Okay.
I'll like.
Can we just skip to like one of the last chapters?
No.
I just.
There will be some like 11th Digidestin that gets in there, and they'll probably even more than that.
Alberto
Yeah.
Del Rio will have died, and they'll just keep going. I miss him so bad.
Yeah, for how long that story has to have been going, surely the roster's changed. Alberto Del Rio's not on the main roster anymore.
They just continue to introduce new characters every chapter indefinitely until it's over.
To the point where it's not even enough room to tell a story. It's just each character saying or doing something.
That's how those go sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's our show. This one went longer than usual. Do you like that audience viewership? Do you want longer episodes? Do you want shorter episodes? We don't really know what we're doing with this show anymore.
Do you want us to go with the bandwagon and produce a 24-hour episode?
Whoa.
I would love to do a 24-hour episode. Reading Digimon X WWE.
Elias is just immediately, that would be terrible, and you're just like, I would love to.
You could just pick anything on fanfiction and find like a 249,000 word one and just read
You
that.
could read all of fanfiction in 24 hours.
No, you couldn't.
No.
If we ever do like a live stream, something, I would love to just keep reading that forever.
There we go.
That'd be great. I would read the Slender 8 pages over and over again.
And
This
now
is
for-
what?
No, never mind, you go.
What, you got something funny to say?
So then now for the 8th annual rendition of Elias's The 8 Pages Digimon, where...
I'd rather write my own fanfiction and read that again.
Okay.
This has been episode 30 of the podcast.
Whoa.
That's a lot.
It is.
That's so many.
It's 90 fanfictions.
At least.
Mm.
Even more sometimes.
Incredible. The incredible true story.
Yeah,
Incredibles
between like guest episodes and just other ones where we read short ones, we've had at least 100 different stories so far in this show.
Oh yeah.
That's amazing. I wonder what the 100th story was.
I don't know.
Should find out.
It's probably Tito hates the shoeies.
Oh yeah, that episode was only one story.
We've had others with multiple stories, but that was necessary.
It's okay.
Yeah.
That one was on the shelf for a year. It's okay.
We should invite the Tito Facebook page admin to read that.
We
Please.
need another excuse to write more fan fictions.
True, I would love to write another one.
Hmm.
Here.
We missed Valentine's Day.
We got Easter coming up.
Ooh.
Nothing happens on Easter.
We can make something happen on Easter.
What can you write about Easter where you
Okay,
can
so-
put a character in it?
Okay, so once upon a time, Bill Cosby was the Easter Bunny.
We have to write 3 stories where a fictional character is the Easter Bunny and how they handle Easter.
That sucks.
Yeah, where's your St. Patrick's Day fanfiction?
There's nothing to write about that either.
Okay, so once upon a time, the legend goes that if you catch Bill Cosby, you get his pot of gold.
Ooh, I got summer's around the corner. I mean, we live in Florida, so it's practically now. We should do an episode where we write like beach day episodes of shows.
Yeah.
We should do that, okay.
Like it doesn't even have to be crossovers, just a beach day version of a show.
I'm down.
Sounds like fun.
We can do that as like
Yeah. Those are always like the stupidest episodes of things.
True.
The beach episode.
Coming soon, maybe. We'll see.
Hooray.
Hooray! Let's see. Now keep going. Let's go to Cece's
Okay.
Pizza Buffet. Yay.